What is up, guys? I'm coming with the first Heisman watch of the season. Heisman watch after week one. Excited to make the first Heisman video of the season, where I'll give my top 5 Heisman watch so far. I'll give who I think should win, who I think is gonna win or not win. It's way too early to be talking about the Heisman, but I think it's fun nonetheless. Who's the best player in the nation? And if the season ended today, who do I think the voters would vote for the best player in the nation? Do you feel me? If you're new here, that's how it works. I'll give my top 5. I'll talk about people who had either great or disastrous performances. Whole bunch of stuff like that. If you like this video, like and subscribe at the end. I am trying to get back into the groove of things and upload college football content on a weekly basis. But without further ado, let's get right into it. First, I'm going to mention one big thing. Sam Howell, one of the favorites coming in to the season. I predicted him to win the Heisman last year, and I thought he had a really good chance of winning it this year. But he came out week one, and he looked rough, to say the least. He had a disastrous week. He got beat by unranked Virginia Tech and only put up 10 points on offense. That's pathetic. To get beat by an unranked team and only put up 10 points, and you're supposed to be a Heisman candidate, that's not cutting it. And to put the cherry on top, he had not one, not two, but 3 interceptions in that game. Yeah, that might seal the deal for him for the rest of the year. This was such a bad game. He really couldn't afford it. We'll see, though. I was a big believer in him. He let me down. It is what it is. We'll see. I'll hop into my honorable mentions before I get into my top 5. Honorable mention, JT Daniels. He is actually injured, if y'all guys did not hear. He is questionable to play this week versus UAB. And I will say the only reason why he's an honorable mention in the slightest is because he plays quarterback for one of the best teams in the nation. If Georgia was a worse team, he would not be up here. He looked like crap this week. I'm not even going to put it slightly. He put up 3 points on offense. The defense put up the other 7. He didn't look good this week. However, I think he can grow down the season, down the year. And like I said, it's only week 1. And he quarterbacks for one of the best teams in the nation. So that's why he's an honorable mention. On to my second honorable mention. Haynes King, quarterback, A&M. Kind of same thing with Daniels. He plays quarterback for one of the best teams in the nation. I think he's a sleeper, a dark horse. Keep your eyes out. Chris Olave is my third honorable mention. He looked really amazing this week. I think Devontae Smith last year possibly, maybe could have opened the door for other wide receivers to win. I'm not sure. But if anyone in the country is going to win the Heisman as a wide receiver, it's Chris Olave right now. He looked insanely good versus Minnesota. But his quarterback also looked good, and I'll get into that later. And the only reason he probably isn't in my top 5 is just because, he has to share the spotlight with his quarterback. And he's a wide receiver. He's not that likely to win. Just say. Fourth honorable mention, I have Kyle Hamilton, a defensive player out of Notre Dame. He looked really stellar this week with, I believe, a couple interceptions, a couple tackles for a loss. He looked pretty amazing. Couldn't he keep this up? Maybe not. Probably not. But he looked good this week 1. Also, another honorable mention is Kenneth Walker, running back out of Michigan State, who ran for over 200 yards this week. And my last and final honorable mention goes to Zach Charbon, the running back for UCLA, who also ran for over 200 yards this week. But yeah, that's my honorable mentions. I'm sorry if any of you guys think they should be in the top 5. They're not my top 5, but I'll get into my top 5 right now. At number 5, I have Spencer Rattler, the quarterback out of Oklahoma, the favorite by most people going into the season for the Heisman Trophy. This week versus Tulane, he put up 300 yards, 1 touchdown to 2 interceptions with a 77% completion percentage and a struggle win versus Tulane. I'm going to keep it real with y'all. Spencer Rattler did not look too good this week. He looked kind of bad. He didn't look as bad as Sam Howell, but he looked not as people expect him. Not as a Heisman front runner should be. But I think he has room to grow. Oklahoma's one of the best teams in the nation. He's not quite dropping out of my top 5. At number 4, I have a sleeper, a dark horse that I'm really high on. Shout out to Elite Takes on TikTok and Twitter for putting me on this guy. Because he was not on my radar. Thank him for putting him on my radar. Desmond Ridder, the quarterback out of Cincinnati. Now, he could be higher. He could be as high as number 2, probably. Number 2 or 3. But he plays for Cincinnati, a non-Power 5 team. I do hold that against him. Because he just doesn't play the same quality as opponents. He doesn't get that many opportunities to have big games. But he looked pretty good this week, putting up 300 yards, 4 touchdowns to only 1 interception with an 80% completion percentage versus Miami of Ohio. But yeah, he looked pretty good this week. Do not sleep on Desmond Ridder. I think he's one of the best quarterbacks in this draft class. And I think he has a serious shot at the Heisman Trophy. At number 3, I have C.J. Stroud, quarterback out of Ohio State. You could argue that Chris Olave should be here. But I'm just a big fan of C.J. Stroud, and he looked really good this week. And quarterback, I tend to side with quarterbacks. You know, they're the leaders. They're the flashy ones. They're the stars. You know how it is. But C.J. Stroud looked really, really good this week, better than I even thought, with over 300 yards, 4 touchdowns, only 1 interception, and 60% completion percentage. Yeah, he looked pretty good in a 45-31 win over Minnesota. He stepped up in a close game versus what I think is a quality opponent, and played pretty darn good. So, I think he has a shot at the end of the season if he keeps this up. A lot of people are sleeping on him also. But I think he's one of the best players in the nation. At number 2, I have the Ole Miss quarterback, Matt Corral. This week versus Louisville, with Lane Kiffin out for COVID, on Monday night in primetime, Matt Corral put up over 400 yards with 2 touchdowns, 2 no interceptions, with a 69% completion percentage. He looked pretty damn good versus Louisville. He looked pretty damn good. I mean, he looked pretty good last season, and he looks even better this season. And if Ole Miss can get this defense, Matt Corral is going to be leading a top 20 team, a top 15 team, if Ole Miss can pull together a defense. I used to not really be that high on Matt Corral. I used to really not like him. But I've come to my senses. And I think he's a pretty damn good quarterback. But at number 1, you can call me biased. But even the Vegas odds say that he's the betting favorite for the Heisman right now. Give me Bryce Young at number 1. I hope to not be overreacting. Maybe I am. But Bryce Young looked incredible this week versus Miami, putting up over 350 yards with 4 touchdowns, 2 no interceptions, with a 71% completion percentage. I mean, he did what he was supposed to. He looked poised. He looked smart. He kept his eyes downfield. He threw accurate passes. I mean, I can go on and on. Bryce Young looked stellar this week, and if he keeps this up for the number one team in the nation, he's going to win the Heisman Trophy. When you play this good for the top-ranked team in the nation, you will win the Heisman Trophy playing like this. Now, like I said, it's only week 1, so we can't overreact too much. But still, he's my favorite for the Heisman Trophy right now. He's who I think would win if the season ended today. But like I've said so many previous times, it is only week 1. We have only played 1 week of football so far. This is honestly just for fun. Because we have no idea what will go on beyond now. This is honestly just fun to look back on in the future and to be like, this list was so different back in September. You know what I mean? So don't take this too seriously. Don't get your panties in a twist. If your favorite player wasn't on here, I'm sorry. It is what it is. I think a lot of these players have room to grow down the season into the year. Yeah, it's honestly way too early to be talking about the Heisman at all. But like I said, I do this for fun, and I do it to entertain you guys. So, in the comments below, tell me, did I leave out your favorite player? Who do you think should be the Heisman favorite? Who do you think is going to win the Heisman Trophy at the end of the year? Give me your opinions, your thoughts in the comments below. I love to hear them. I read every single comment. And with that, peace out, guys.